Kia ora, hey, so I wanted to share a personal experience with you. There's only a couple of people in the world that know this ever happened, and I've never been able to get over it because of the fear that I felt when I experienced it. And now that I understand it, and now that the things that I said ended up making sense and blah, 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 and the things that I uncovered since the event, it's something that I think is worth sharing, because if you have ever experienced the same thing as a high functioning creative empath, because you're up in those frequencies anyway, um, if you're ever caught between the creation frequency and the Schumann resonance, um, it is absolutely terrifying. And there are people out there, and secret agencies and militaries and governments and that would give everything they have to be able to have the kind of access to frequencies without having to use machines. But the only sorry, I'm having another having another coffee. That just sounded like I had helium. Now I've ruined the seriousness by talking like Daffy Duck. Oh my god. Well done, Debbie. Oh, good lord. Now I've completely lost track. Oh my god. So, yeah, there are people out there that would give anything to be able to have the kind of access to those sort of frequencies without needing weapons and machines and stuff, that which the handful, the chosen, do naturally. We're the enemy because, like, in order for us to be able to be the masters of what we are, we have to go through an ascension. It's not anything you can fake, and it's not anything you can copy. Originality is not anything you can fake or copy. You can't fake being a trailblazer, because it means having to copy somebody else. So, one of the ways that they try to get to you, especially as children, is through your music and your movies and your TV and that. Like, that's no hidden secret now. All the things that conspiracy theorists, got called crazy for, and that, like, it's undeniable now. Like, nobody even disputes it, that they did this sort of stuff. Like the CIA, the World Economic Forum, prime ministers, presidents, like, they've all admitted to controlling the media, controlling the narrative, controlling what you put out, what you see, what you hear, and what you think. They have all these machines because Nikola Tesla worked on it in the 1890s. He's the one that invented these direct energy weapons that could, control brainwaves and all of that. This is all easily stuff that can be looked up. It's the information that is widely known now, which is what makes what happened to me even more questionable. And so, if I tell you my story and it's ever happened to you, or it does happen to you, you'll automatically know what it is, and you can stop panicking, and you'll know what to do. So, I had been in touch with a kid that I grew up with, and everything was going brilliantly. Um, she was going to be the voice to Princess Anahita in my movie because she was, had the same kind of accent and stuff like that, and everything was going brilliantly. And one day I was thinking about her nana because I had a really special connection with her nana. She was a really lovely woman. Like, we weren't like close as thieves sort of thing, but she was one of the most gracious, lovely women I'd ever met in my life. And I would always think about her, and then I'd get a phone call to say, "Do you want to come over?" And then she'd be there, and all that sort of thing. We had this really lovely connection. I was a little bit afraid of her because she was a very she had a very powerful matriarchal presence, and it was one that warranted a lot of respect in that. So I was thinking about her, and I started talking to my friend, and it was like, the only way I can describe it, and I've gone over it and over it and over it in my head, so that when I was ready to tell my story, I would know exactly how to be able to say it without it sounding confusing, because the whole event itself was just pure madness. I started talking to my friend about her grandmother, and everything was going beautifully, and then all of a sudden it was like there was an explosion of thought in my head, and it was like the guy that I was talking to at the time and some stuff that he was going to be having to deal with, and basically like a race war that was coming up for him. He was, going to be forced to have to defend his family name and defend his race and his people and his history and all of that. So I was seeing stuff that was coming up for him, as well as seeing stuff that I was about to unlock with Queen Elizabeth, Liz, um, that were going to make sense with her, blended in with a couple of other things that just it was like, if you imagine everything that I was thinking was a different coloured strand of wool, like red, yellow, pink, green, and then taking all of those different colours and turning them into a ball of different multicoloured wool and an explosion of thought, and then trying to decipher what each colour thread meant and trying to explain what the hell was going on, and it just coming out like jumbled linguistic horror. And it absolutely terrified me. The first thing I thought was, oh my God, is this what a mental illness feels like? Like, is this it? Is this actually what a mental illness feels like? I mean, it's so me to analyse myself as I'm going through a new emotion. That's such a science thing to do, but it's just my brain automatically goes to needing to understand what happened, so that if there's anything that I've done wrong, I need to be able to fix it. I need to be able to figure it out so I can fix what I've done wrong, because I'm trying to evolve in this lifetime where I fix my glitches. I just want smooth sailing. I want safe passage when I cross over. And the thing is that people have tried to kill me now so many times in my life, it's not even funny. I've almost died so many times in my life, it's not even funny. Not even let alone people trying to kill me, but just like with accidents and things like that. Oh my God. I've had more trips to the underworld than probably most people who haven't had some sort of illness where they constantly go into cardiac arrest or something. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, do I know the underworld passage. So now that I'm older and I'm away from the people kind of sort of trying to kill me, kind of sort of, um, I'm unpicking all the different coloured yarns, and I'm going, okay, so that happened because that happened, and this was that, and blah blah blah. And it's like, unfortunately, for whatever reason, my friend's grandmother was the catalyst, and it was just just like unleashing a dam, but having like a big massive boulder at the end of the run. That's the only way I can describe it. It was just, oh my God, it was the most terrifying thing. I will never forget the feeling of my heart pounding so hard that I could feel it pulsating in my throat because I was that afraid. And I'm just going to have a sip. And I immediately ran to my friend, trying to explain to him what the hell was going on. I was crying. I had tears streaming down my face, and I said, I don't know what the hell just happened. I was trying to explain it to him. And then, like, he was able to help me kind of start to make sense of it all. And then, of course, what happened was over the course of time, I actually found out that my friend had told a lie that was a pretty big one, a pretty damaging one to someone that we both knew, and I knew that for whatever reason that happened, unfortunate as it was, because like, you know, innocent people got brought in on it all. I needed to see what I had to see so that I would be okay with walking away. Like it brought me closure as to what happened, but I never stopped thinking about what happened. Then, of course, you know, over the course of the year and a half, 2 years, however long it's been, I think it's 2 years now since it happened, almost 2 years, I think. Yeah, almost 2 years. That it happened, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, because the more I was doing my own investigation and the more I was falling down the Donald Trump, Epstein, Diddy conspiracy theory against the monarchy kind of friggin' rabbit hole I found myself falling down into, the deeper I dug into my own investigation, the more I started to uncover the information about these energy weapons. And remember that guy that they accused of shooting that CEO? I am 100% convinced that what they tried to do to me, they did to him. Because they can do that. They can make you look insane. And they are trying to stop me at all cost from getting to where I need to go, in order to, because I'm going to be taking over Disney. My movies, you know, we're going to be taking over Disney with wholesome, traditional, you know, family movies, and we're going to be what we always thought Disney were, until we started to find out that they're the opposite. Because God is getting ready to shut all of that down in the new world, we get to rebuild it all. And so I'm going to be, you know, the Disney with the child actors, and, you know, the comedy cartoons, and the, you know, the kids cartoons, and the family entertainment, and the fairies and the dragons, and, you know, the princesses and the princes and kings and queens, and blah, that I'm taking over all of that. I'm going to have a talent agency where my kids and their money and their rights and that will be protected within, you know, every law that I can possibly bring to protect their rights, so that they're never Judy Garland or Gary Coleman or Shirley Temple or any of those kids, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, none of them. My kids will never be treated like that. Our Hollywood will never be like the old Hollywood, because you won't be selling your soul to the devil for fame. You won't be selling your body and being passed around like a joint to all who want to partake in you, worshipping Baphomet and Baal and Molech and all that. My kids won't be selling their soul to the devil. They'll be giving themselves over to hope and faith. Has nothing to do with religion. We're going to be the place where we give kids hope and faith that they're going to be able to put their talents out there and make money off it and not get ripped off by their parents and not get ripped off by their managers or their lawyers and not be, sold to the highest bidder. What happened to Britney and Amanda Bynes and Justin Bieber, and that will absolutely not be happening on my watch. And so, of course, they want to stop me. Because they know what's coming. They all believe in the prophecy, and they can't have the prophecy, because then it means that they lose, and they're all held accountable for what they've been doing to mankind for the last few centuries, because it's all handed down from generation to generation. Nikola Tesla's energy weapon was taken by Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, the head of the FBI. He's the one they got Tesla whacked, and then they stole his stuff and his energy weapon. And that's exactly what they use now to make people go nuts, to get them to look crazy so they can put them away if they think you're a threat, or because they think that you're a stain to humanity. People like Gates and all that, Africans, as far as he's concerned, they're not people worthy of being on this planet. And he said so, pretty much. They're useless. They're not good for anything. So wipe them out. But all these things are starting to be seen now, which is why it's getting safer to speak out. Because what happened to me was, it happened over Facebook Messenger, and it was in the course of me having to deal with the Yodok Cello thing and all of that I found out that my husband Martin was connected to the hacking. And because my husband Martin is connected to Rocio and the Air Force and the Army and the whole Trump and the Hillary Clinton and the CIA, and me being on the watch list and shadow banned and Elon Musk and blah, 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 the first thing I thought when I saw that he was connected to it all was they tried to use that weapon on me through Facebook, through Messenger, and they can do it. That's why they want you to wear those NHS watches and stuff, because they can control your heart rate and that through them. All they need is you touching something electrical, your Bluetooth headphones. The ones that go in your ears are like microwave ovens. Your phones, your laptops, anything where your fingers are touching, anything that is plugged into electricity, broadband or Wi-Fi, and they've got you right there. If they can get you in the frequency of the Schumann resonance, because then they can control it. Like turning up a dial, depending on whether they want you to go nuts and kill yourself, whether they want you to go nuts and kill other people, whether they want you to go nuts, whether they want you to fall into depression. They can control it all. And it starts with, remember the Beatles? Were they the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and that? Remember, they were it was around that time girls started going nuts, and screaming and wanting to rip their hair out and chasing them down the street and blah, blah, blah. That was all through the Schumann resonance. Because the kids are the money. When it comes to music and movies and that, if kids become loyal to their idol, they will spend all their money and their parents' money on buying into their idol. It is a big money maker to get kids on your side when it comes to fandom. And then these people are just more than happy to be worshipped. But see, my kids are going to be taught how to respect their talents, because they're going to be raised to respect their bodies. And they will know how to deal with the unhealthy mindset, because we're going to give them the respect and the room and the space to grow, that while they might be in the confines of our fishbowl, I'm going to make it look like while they are in that fishbowl, or while they are in that pond, so to speak, moving them from the fishbowl to the pond, they might still be in the confines of my protective arms, but I'm going to make it look like they're swimming in every ocean on the planet while they're there. The sky won't even be the limit for what I will try and do for them in order to encourage their creative flow. And so, what you listen to, and how you listen to it, and how you're touching it, and how you interact with it, and all of that is so important. So if you ever suddenly if you ever have like an explosion of thought in your head that makes no sense, or it will literally come out of nowhere, like you've just been struck in the head with a bullet, just come out of nowhere. Don't panic, just recognize it for what it is. Whatever it is you're using, your phone, your laptop, whatever it is that you've used when you felt it, walk away from it and go outside and take your shoes off and ground yourself. Let your feet feel the soil, let your feet feel the sand, let your feet feel the grass. And then if your heart is still pounding and your head is still spinning, go and sit down at the base of a tree. And if you don't have access to a tree, just lay down on the ground, just lay it all down and have your heart close to the ground. If you have a tree though, if you can sit at the bottom of a tree, the tree will take the impact and then root it into the ground, which is like it won't take as long for you to recover from the shock of what's just happened, because your whole body's basically gone into red alert. Hang on. If you start having any negative thoughts, like harmful thoughts or anything like that, which luckily I didn't, thank God. Mine was just it was like I was predicting 6 or 7 different outcomes that were yet to happen in the future with people I was around at the time or was about to come in contact with after the event. It's like I was seeing things all at once, like all together in one jumbled vision, and it just, oh my God, it made no sense. I will never forget that fear as long as I live. That fear is the kind of fear you get when you walk through the gates of hell. I'm not even joking, which is why I had to try and understand it, because I thought, am I being told that I'm evil? Like, am I being told, like, is this mental illness? Like, is this what it actually is? And the truth is always stranger than fiction, isn't it? It made no sense when I was talking about it and trying to decipher it and that, but then when it's like as time went by and events started unfolding in the news and on social media and in real life and stuff like that, suddenly it all started making sense. And I was realizing, oh, so that was about that person and that was about that person and that happened because that, and I said that because of that, and it had nothing to do with them or her or blah, blah, blah. But it was just, unfortunately, it's like they got sucked into the vortex while I was trying to steady myself and figure out what was going on and trying to stop myself from having a heart attack because of the fear. It's like as soon as my intuition and my instincts clocked that something abnormal was happening, my body went into absolute red alert, and the first thing I did was run to my friend for protection. Like without even blinking an eye, I went straight to him and I said, oh my God, something's just happened. I don't even know how to explain it. And then of course all of this came out, and you know, they can get you to take your own life, they can get you to hurt other people, they can get you to hurt yourself, They can get you to hurt animals. They can get you to do the most insane things just to stop you because they see you as a threat, or to use you because they see you as disposable. So now, if you've ever had any of those kind of experiences, and you know that you don't have any mental illnesses, and you know that that there's something not going on, and you know that they're admitting that they have all of these weapons and machines and use these towers, and that, like, they don't even hide it anymore. The World Economic Forum have had meetings where they've talked about, I've put it all up on my X, how, and we've got machines that can change your emotions, we've got weapons that can make you cry and do this and do that, and blah blah blah. So, and we all know what they think of me. Especially Donald Trump. He's not going to be very happy with me at the moment, and Starmer's next. Because they can't have me saving children. Because they know that once I'm put into position over the radio waves, over the internet, over advertising and marketing and broadcasting and all of that. Did I say social media? The media and social media and the interwebs and all of that sort of thing. And I'm stepping out into the world. It means they've lost, and it means that I get to save children. And the one thing they can't have is children being saved, because then they can't get their hands on them. And now everything I said suddenly doesn't seem so nuts, does it? Because now that you look at all the evidence that's coming out about Trump and Starmer and all of them, especially all the ones that I've named, just doing my own investigation, they all want their hands on the children. And if I'm in position and I get justice, they can't get their hands on the children, because they're all starting to go down for wanting to get their hands on children. It's all starting to come out now. Everything I said was the truth. And now it can't be unseen. So now I feel safe to talk about what happened. So if it ever happens to you, or you ever hear anything on the news or social media about someone who just completely out of character does some random act of violence, think about it first. Before you jump to conclusions, maybe the first thing you should be asking is, were they a target for MK Ultra? Were they a target for this? Were they, because they need fodder for their distractions. But people aren't getting distracted anymore. People are cottoning people are cottoning on now. People aren't fooled anymore. Their house of cards is falling down. Trump Tower is falling down. And as I said the other day, as his tower falls, my physics rises. Because as he's falling, I'm being proven more and more and more and more right with everything that I said using quantum magnetics. And they only target people who are onto something, or who could expose them, or because you're seen as disposable and they need a distraction. But nobody's buying it with Trump anymore. All these people suddenly dying. It's just like Hillary Clinton. How many of her friends committed suicide or had random accidents and stuff? Because that's what they do, because they're all in on it together. They're all friends. They all socialise with each other. They just make you think they're political rivals, but they're not. It's all a game. It's all an act. But once you realise that, it gives you control over what you allow yourself to believe and think. So now, if any of that happens to you, like what happened to me, now you know what to do. Just don't panic, recognise it for what it is, walk away from all your electronics, just turn everything off, go outside, take your shoes off and ground yourself, let your feet touch the ground, your bare feet. And if you can sit against the base of the tree with your back against the tree and your head like touching the tree, do that with your bare feet touching the ground. But if you don't have access to a tree, just lay down. It doesn't matter if it's on your back or your tummy. If you can lay on your tummy, lay on your tummy, as long as your heart is pressed against the ground. Just close your eyes and listen to the sounds of nature and recognize it for what it is. And then like ask yourself, why me? And then if you know that you have no reason to be a target for them, then it means that they consider you disposable fodder. So then you can be aware of your actions and say to people, look, if I start acting weird, can you help me? Can you document everything so that if anything happens, it's proof that I knew they were up to something, or, you know, whatever. Document everything. Resist any and all urges to do anything negative. Once you recognize it for what it is, you're armed with the knowledge to do something about it. And shutting off your Wi-Fi and broadband and that every now and then doesn't hurt. Going outside and stepping away from your computers and phones and that certainly, absolutely won't hurt. Eat like earthy foods and high protein foods like eggs and red meat and all of that, like to ground yourself from the inside out. All that stuff helps. If you're in a country where weed is legal, whether it's medicinal or not, smoke weed, because it's harder for them to access your brainwaves when you have the release of DMT. So it does actually, it has been scientifically proven to protect you from people, you know, like weapons and that sort of thing. Some people report to hear actual radio stations in their head, like they're testing the signal, and they've tried to give it some mental illness thing, even though the CIA and like the World Economic Forum and all of that have absolutely come out and said, oh yeah, no, we use them all the time. The Scottish police have got the machines that they use. The 5G towers do it all. They have on the base of the towers all the list of the symptoms. I'm pretty sure one of them is like if you hear noises in your head or something, if you become paranoid. So it's because they want to be able to randomly create riots and stuff when they need one, at their own convenience, when they need to create a distraction, like what they did with Whitney when she chopped all her hair off and stuff. That crazed look on her eye. That was a perfect example of the use of those weapons. Sorry, I'm just having a drink of water. I keep myself hydrated. Constantly drinking water. It's good to keep yourself hydrated. Really important, actually. You can't have your brain drying out. You've got to keep it hydrated. All the right kind of fats and oils in that, because it helps with your memory and protects your brain against things like Parkinson's and dementia and that, when you have a good coating of fats and proteins and cholesterols and that in your brain. So keeping yourself hydrated is very important. That's why you always hear me having drinks and burping and doing all sorts of horrendous things with my mouth gas. So unladylike. Anyway, So yeah, so if that ever happens to you, you know what to do. Um, I got thrown down a rabbit hole so deep, so unexpected. You know, you think that you're up against two or three people, and then you find out you're actually, up against 50 people in four different countries, and and it goes all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom, and oh my god. And all you're trying to do is build a school to protect vulnerable children. That's how much they don't want me protecting vulnerable children, because it's the vulnerable children that are the easiest for them to take. So, well, when we have this war with Russia, while everyone's distracted, we'll get the children out and we'll make them look vulnerable and say, oh, this, that, and the other, and then they disappear and they're never seen from again. Or, vulnerable children, oh, we need to take them out of your care and put them in foster care, and then they're never heard from again. Or they end up on the street, or in prostitution, or, being sold to grooming gangs and sex traffickers, and they're the vulnerable children. They want the vulnerable children. So, it's not going to happen. Because only God tells me what to do. And God is my strength, and God leads the way. And where God leads, I follow. And whatever country He's leading me to, that's exactly where I'm headed. And I'm going to do this myself. I've done it myself this far. I will find myself some investors. I will get my radio station set up as soon as as soon as I'm able to get the money, and I can get out of here and get a bigger place. And once I know where I'm going, I'll get my station set up, and then I'll find a place to build my school, and then I'll start looking for staff and put everyone in place, and yeah, and then we'll start opening our doors to these kids and letting everybody be a part of it. All of us working together to bring hope and faith to children who had probably given up ever thinking that they were ever going to be given voices. Well, I'm going to put them on stage and put them in galleries and put them on bookshelves and put them in video games and in cartoons and TV shows and movies and stuff, and then the whole world's going to hear them. Because they are the stars and I am their universe. And I'll protect them and I'll hold them, and I will let them shine as bright as they can, so that people looking up at them have got something wonderful to look up at, when, to be inspirations to them, because stars are inspiring. All the people that are called stars, like your Marilyn Monroes, like the real stars, the genuine ones, the one like Princess Diana and that, the real ones, they earned their place. They were inspiring. They are still inspiring. They are still loved. They are still memorialised. They are still remembered decades after they've gone, centuries after they've gone. And that's what I want for my kids. Even if they only are in one movie or make one game, their name in the end credits, their name on the billboards and the posters on the screens will be immortalised forever. They will forever be North Stars. My North Stars. And whatever it is that they do. So if they want a baking show, I'll give them a baking show, because we'll have a TV production company for them to use at their disposal. We'll have a shopping network. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have so much fun. So I can't wait. So now you know what to do. Don't give up believing in yourself. They want you to give up. They want you to stop believing in yourself. They want you to stop having hopes and dreams. They want to be able to control every aspect of people's lives. You will have nothing, you will own nothing, you will be nothing, blah, blah, blah. No, sorry. That's because they are nothing. They are trying to reflect onto the world everything that they feel about themselves. They are projecting, because the actual definition of insanity. Genocide and mass murder and cloud seeding to create floods to kill people and stuff like that. It's insanity, criminal insanity. So, in amongst all the fear and confusion, you have to sit down and kind of like look in the mirror, have a bit of self reflection, and figure this stuff out to keep your mind strong so that you can never feed them your fear again, because that's exactly what they want. It's just they feed off the fear of having that control over you, just like with domestic abusers and that. They feed off it like adrenochrome. It gives them like a dopamine high. It gives them a rush. And their worst enemy are people they can't control. So, again, if you arm yourself with the knowledge, you gain the power to control every aspect of your life, how you think, how you react, how you're perceived, how you come across. And then suddenly, I haven't had a TV for 3.5 years and I don't miss it. I don't have broadband, I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a microwave, I don't have a washing machine, don't miss my microwave at all. I want to move to a house where I get to have a log fire so that my boys and that still have to chop wood, so that in the winter we've got extra heating with a potbelly stove that can help feed into the hot water and stuff like that. I just want to go back to that. Have the TV for, the occasional watching movie and video game and that, but I'd rather listen to music. I'd rather sit outside and listen to some classical music or just listen to the animals coming out at night than sit around a coffee table all night, or sit around a bar stool all night, or sit around a controller all night. Oh my God, like I've been stuck and trapped for 52 years on islands. I mean, technically Australia is a pretty big island. I mean, other than my couple of years that I spent growing up in Australia, which gave me my freedom, I never felt more free as I did when I was in Australia until I went to America. So I need to get off this island. I need to spread my wings and go, because I'm not living in a country that's good to children. They're not even good to the king. And they will never allow anything that I'm trying to build for the economy, for the children, for tourism, for business, enterprise, for entrepreneurship, anything like that. Starmer's government will not allow any of that to thrive. So I'm wondering whether maybe with Trump going down, if I'm doing a good job, America might say at the end of this, like, do you want to come and build over here? There's a town in South Dakota I have my eye on that's for sale that I could absolutely work with if I couldn't get a visa to Russia. Russia would be my first choice. However, having said that, I would build whatever I'm trying to build in any country that would let me build there, as long as they were a country that was putting the children first, putting the future first, who were promoters of tradition and, promoting healthy families and healthy family dynamics and tradition and family and children. So yes, I'm going to do it myself. So I've got to find investors. I've got to find someone to help me with like landscape design and architecture and construction and all of that, all while I'm doing my radio station on the side. But I'll use my radio station as a way to let everyone know how we're coming along with the building of everything. And my God, when I get to open the doors, when I get to open those gates and finally say, come in, haramai, haramai, come, come in, haramai, come in. I want to have like some tickies, and that like when you go through the gates, I want you to have to drive through with like my ancestral tickies and taniwha and that carved in the gates. I'll get my cousin back home in New Zealand to carve it all for me, and then we'll have like a big unveiling ceremony and that. And then yeah, we'll open the gates and let everyone in. That's just going to be my proudest day, because then I'll know I won, and that we finally get to save children for the first time ever in world history. I can't wait. I can see it all. I can almost hear like the ancestral. We have like we call it the Māori telephone, woo 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 like that, and hearing the sounds of the whistle and the shells. Ooh, 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 just gave me goosebumps. Oh wow. It's funny because yeah, I'm sitting there looking at the gateway to what's going to be like my foundation and my, the Royal Oak Tree Inn and all of that, like all of that. I've just visualised the gates, and it's all carved with the tiki and the taniwha and that when you're driving through, and it just felt like I was stepping back into ancient New Zealand, like up round Whakarewarewa way, where all the falls and stuff are, where my dad had that experience. In the video, I'll put a link in the description box. There's a photo of me standing with my dad outside the gateway to it, where he had what I know was a time jump, and watching my mum help him through it. My sister and I were talking about that a few months ago, because I was like, do you remember that? She's like, yeah, I do. I'll put a link. It's called The Music Box. I felt like I was stepping into that. So it's like, because my nana was taken away from her family and put in a boarding school by the government. And she used to get beaten for speaking her native tongue. And then she grew up too afraid to speak Māori. So she wouldn't teach it to any of us. I could have learnt on my own like some of my cousins did, but the stupid things you take for granted, eh? When you get older, you learn to appreciate where you came from. And people like me and people like us that have skills and gifts like us, it comes from ancient roots that they can never ever be a part of. So instead of investing in it and embracing it and nurturing it, they want to try and stop it and tear it down because you are the threat to their enterprises. But if we all stick together, there's way more of us than there are of them. They're only the 1%. We are the 144,000. So we're more than that. I actually truly believe, in all honesty, the 144,000 are the next generation, are the ones that we raise up to take it into the future. I think we're the OGs and they're the 144, but I could be wrong. Time will tell. Anyway, so I'm going to go. So now you know what to do, and I had to share my story because it's happening. I can see it on social media, and that people are coming out with more and more and more and more of these stories that are sounding eerily similar to mine. And it can't just be me. And when you look at the evidence and when it's coming out of their own mouths where they're saying, we do that, And then there's like, the Scottish government have that, the English government have that, they do that. Here's the patent, here's the this, here's the that, and then people are coming out saying, I think this thing just happened to me, and it's like, hang on, that happened to me too. Like, that's not a coincidence. That's, that's when there's more going on than meets the eye. But if we all get brave and speak up together, we can't all be silenced. And so, I'm speaking up, and it starts with me. We can risk a lot by speaking up, but they've taken everything from me but my seeds. And as long as I have my seeds, I'll just keep growing until I grow something that allows me to climb up out of it, to go and get my golden goose, which is all my movies and books and dreams and, my plans. My golden goose is my Midas touch. Everything that I get to grow once those seeds have sprouted into something. So now you know what to do. Now you know what it is. Don't be afraid. Now you know what to do, and that's the important thing. And if you need to talk, or or if you have any questions, or you think I can help you, just know where I am. And when I get my radio station up and running, we will have actual, live feeds where you will be able to log in and submit your questions, and I'll be able to answer them live. And then if I get an actual radio station where we can have like a call centre, then I'll take live calls, phone calls. That's my dream, to have a radio show where I can do live phone calls. That's my dream. I can't have that at home though, because I'd need like a phone switchboard and stuff, and I'm just like a home. I'll just be like a house. But at my house I can do, in the chat, live chat, and I'll have room monitors and that. But my dream is to have actual radio with talkback, with a call in, so that people can actually call in. Right, so I'm going to go now. I've already had my shower, I've already done all my chores, washed all my stuff, my bed linen by hand. Doesn't even bother me I don't have a washing machine. I've changed my linen, all the floors are done. I've just got to do the bins, but I think I'm probably not going to do them till tomorrow because they don't really need doing. And then I'm going to continue to watch Halloween cartoons and sitcoms because I'm watching them all for research purposes, and I'm having the time of my life burning these new oil potions together. I'm going to go, after this, I'm going to do one for men and women who work outside, who work with like trees and grass. So, landscapers and contractors and lumberjacks and people chopping wood and woodworkers and gardeners, park rangers, that sort of thing. People who work with the outdoors, basically, but not water, specifically earth. Okay, I'm going to go. So now you know what to do. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.